My first memory of Kwanzaa was right here at community church. I had just started my freshman year in high school, and I was the oldest in Sunday school. My responsibility in the Kwanzaa service was to help the youngest children light the candles of the Kinara. I remember feeling like it was the first time I was responsible for someone younger than me. Stepping into this role in the context of a celebration that affirmed my African American roots was something very new to me, and I believe that that first experience informed how I show up in the world today. I remember learning about Sankofa in that service. I remember wondering about ancestors and what mine would think if they saw me now, helping the children for the Kwanzaa ceremony. We have the Sankofa bird carved into our Kinara at home. The concept of Sankofa, looking back to my ancestors, reminds me that I'm not only connected, but accountable. It reminds me of every time I pass another Black man on the street, our head nod, the knowing, the commonality of our Black experience, us wishing each other success in the struggle, us reminding each other that we are in this together. For me, this is Umoja. There are so many legitimate reasons to fear my life as a Black man, living in a system that weaponizes the very skin I'm in. That fear can turn to fury on a dime. And yet Sankofa, Umoja, this whole Kwanzaa service reminds me that I'm not alone. That those before me struggled and persevered, and that when I accept leadership roles in my community, when I say yes to the responsibility and step into my shine, I become the limitless possibilities that my ancestors fought for. Today, I am a senior in high school about to graduate, class of 2022. I'm a peer leader in my school, leading community building activities for incoming freshmen. Unlike the first Kwanzaa service, I'm used to taking these roles now and feel confident in my abilities. I know that the principles of Kwanzaa, like the principles of Unitarian Universalism, have guided my way. I know that my ancestors are with me. I feel my community here, and I'm grateful and proud to be a working part of the whole. Thank you.
Good morning. So my name is Kamila. I use she, her pronouns. I'm just taking in still some of Thorin's words, so I want to give myself a moment too for that. Thank you, Thorin. Also, I do hope that we have a moment at the end to try to play We Are, because it's playing in my head right now, like over and over again, and I'm like just singing to myself inside my head. So hopefully we'll all be able to share with that together later. So this morning, I was invited to share a reflection. So I will start by saying thank you. Thank you for allowing me to take this moment to let my voice be heard. It is appreciated. So I remember going to the Jacob Javits Center for a Kwanzaa Expo event, and my father brought me. Now, my memories are sparse, but I remember. I remember seeing the spark in my father's eyes as he guided me through this African American space. Unapologetic, a place to be. Now, the Javits Center is big, and it was full. It was full of all things Kwanzaa, all things African American. Rows of tables with bright, colorful cloth and clothes, and just a plethora of items that seemed so familiar. And what I know is that I know I was seen. I know I was affirmed. I know I believed I mattered. And I know I felt this rush of affirmation as soon as I stepped through the doors. I was comfortable at an expo, I was just straight up welcome in that space. And when I think back on this adventure with my father, I remember the feelings more than anything. I remember feeling proud. I remember feeling strong and confident. I remember feeling part of something. Like I remember feeling whole. Like I don't remember thinking I feel whole, but I remember feeling it. Really, it's spaces like that I had only been in a few times in my life up until then. And this was a space that my dad needed, a space that I needed, though I didn't know it then. I didn't know I would spend my formative years being taught different versions of history in school. I didn't know that I would be reminding myself that my history is American history, that I matter, that I have importance. And I had to remember this. And I'm glad I did. But at the base, the piece of the foundation of knowing, remembering, and truth seeking, that was put there by my parents, by Kay and Norman, by others in my life, by some experiences I even had at community church. The importance of understanding knowledge. Even this expo, like, where is this expo? Bring this expo back. And of course, at the core of this truth is the understanding that there was so much resilience and perseverance that my ancestors made it possible for me to be alive today. So today, as we celebrate Umoja, I am lifting up my story of wholeness and my growing understanding that I need space to connect to recharge, and to be. And I will never give up in making sure I have these spaces. And I am connected. And I am grateful. And I feel this. And I love you. Thank you.
Well, good morning, all. And I totally agree with the Reverend that a few glitches here cannot put a damper on a happy Kwanzaa to all. My name is Eric Coleman, and I'm happy to be participating once again. This is maybe the 10th Kwanzaa at Community that I've participated in. I first joined the church, or actually was invited to a church Christmas Eve celebration. So we're at that same time of year, and that was in 1977. And I was invited by my lady, Christine B. Burke, who joined the church in 1964. So I have a long history with Community Church. I've seen many, many changes. But I'm reflecting today on Community's mission as stated in that 8th principle, to journey toward accountability in dismantling the insidiousness and destructiveness of racism. I came across a poem. It's entitled Little Kings by Frank X. Walker. Now, over the years as an actor, I've been told, oh, if more things could be told with your voice, all might be better. Now, it was their way of saying that with a voice that they considered soothing and calming, my speaking voice, that things would be better. But in view of our mission here today at Kwanzaa, perhaps it's voices like the one that rings through this poem that we'd all do well to listen to. Again, Little Kings by Frank X. Walker. What if the good Reverend Dr. M.L.K. Jr. was just Marty or Lil King? Not a pastor, but a little faster. From the streets, quoting gangster rap, not Gandhi. was not Dr. King, but King Doctor, or Ice K. His peace sign on a gold tooth, or gleaming 14-karat light from around his neck. What if somebody screaming nigger hit him in the head with a brick and he pulled out a 9 and squeezed off 1 or 2 rounds, not tears, praying only that he not miss. Sporting MLK on fat brass knuckles and a left-handed diamond pinky ring. Walked the streets with his homeboys, spray painting, let freedom ring, and I had a dream on bus stops and stop signs. Got arrested for conspiring to incite riots, disturbing the peace, and resisting arrest. Didn't preach from no pulpit, but on a microphone, behind turntables, mixing and scratching, listening to Dr. Dre and Wu-Tang and the notorious Big IG. Pants down to his high tops, hat on backwards, eyes on a prize, new voice, not no bell, no piece of nothing that just rings when it's hit, a voice that hits back. Could he still be king? Because this post we done got our equality era ain't everything it seems. Dr. King's dream is still waiting on a rooftop in New Orleans. And I'd just like to conclude that after all these years at the church, hearing some of these young voices today puts me in a very good place about where we're going in the future. Thank you.
Dr. Janice.
Habari gani?
Umoja.
I offer 3 quick thoughts, each leading us towards the need to adopt the 8th principle. First thought, unity or umoja requires the power of the African proverb, sticks in a bundle cannot be broken. Each stick has limited strength, but together, unbreakable. It is unity, umoja, that fueled the 1930 Salt March led by Mahatma Gandhi, the 1963 March on Washington led by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., or King Doc, the 1989 Anti-Apartheid March led by our newest ancestor, Bishop Tutu, the 2013 Black Lives Matter movement led by 3 courageous young Black women, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and Patrice Coulor. The 2017 #MeToo campaign against sexual assault and harassment. The 2018 environmental activism of youth Greta Thunberg, and so many more persons known and unknown in large and small ways who have left and continue to leave their mark. We know that each of them fueled unity, and we know that each of them was not acting alone. Secondly, Masakan, the rich and resonant word from South Africa, the Nguni family of languages, of which Xhosa and Zulu are a part. Loosely translated into English, Masakan means let us build together. It speaks to my understanding of unity, of umoja. It speaks to my theology of inclusion, and it certainly is my maxim, my salutation, and my prayer. I strive daily to honor Masakan. Third, many years ago, 5 very active members of Community Church formed a singing group named Community. Roberta Wallace, Jean Wright Greenblatt, Jennifer Hampshire, Hope Johnson, and me. I must say it saddens me to know that 3 of them are no longer living. But our singing group Community, we were committed to changing the world in our small way. We wore t-shirts with the words unity and diversity, words coined by the Reverend Lee Reed, late minister of the UU congregation of the Palisades in New Jersey. So today, I strive to honor unity in diversity. I do so daily. As I leave you on this first day of Kwanzaa, my wish is for a world that no longer subscribes to me versus you, or to us versus them. In the words of my dear sister friend, Taquina Boston, my wish is for us to find the we. Dear ones, let us strive daily to find, to embrace, and to honor the we. Masakan.
Hello, everyone. We have a song by amazing artist in residence, Darnell White, and composer. What's it about? And it's about unity. Unity in not only in our community, in our world, in our family, in our nation, and in our race. Unity should always be the way we should rise together. Our strength will always be tied to community. Emotion will always mean unity. Unity should always be the way we should rise together. Our joy will always be tied to community. Emotion will always mean unity. Unity will always be the way we should rise together. Our hope will always be tied to community. Emotion will always mean unity. Emotion will always mean unity. Emotion will always mean unity.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Talk about turn on a dime. Come on. Oh, okay. I got some words to share, but can I now? Good morning, all. We still have a few minutes of morning, and I thank you for your patience. And I know how hard Errol worked behind the scenes to make that live on a dime. That's what professionals do. Amen. Amen. To
Amen.
Darnell White, to Christina Henry, one of our professional musicians, thank you for sharing this song titled Unity. As you have heard, Darnell composed this song on just a few days' notice, and Christina gratefully edited this song now 4 times, right? 4 times to bring it to us live today. Your talents as musicians are mind-blowing, and thank you both. As we have all been so busy over the last few days, it has taken holy effort to pull things together, to transfer our efforts from the sanctuary to the Zoom and live Facebook platform. Can we get a few amens for the work of the staff, our senior minister, the Reverend Peggy Clark, again, our musicians, the lay leaders, and the tech team of 2 people, Amy Wilson and Errol de los Santos. They have all pulled us together, glitches and all, and we're coming for you 2022. Amen?
Amen.
As I
Amen.
start with my homily, I needed to first offer an apology. An apology to the children, youth, and their families who I've had the opportunity to be with this past Sunday, as Jill and Kamila, you have seen, our religious education assistant, invited me to come and be with them to teach a few things about Kwanzaa to them and their families. It was a blast singing, them teaching me about Kwanzaa. We got it in, y'all. So much so that in my teaching on some of the key concepts of Kwanzaa, because I do not speak Swahili or Kiswahili, I taught them the incorrect phrase that goes with the start of each day of Kwanzaa. The phrase that I should have taught should be habari gani. Repeat it. Habari gani.
Abaragani.
Yes, habari gani, which means what's the news in Swahili. What I did teach incorrectly was the phrase harambe, harambe, which still is a pretty amazing word in Kiswahili, meaning pull together, pull together. So hence my apology. Habaragani, habaragani, habaragani. That's just got to tell me what's the word. What's the word today?
Umoja.
Umoja. The title again for this service, and I thank you all, is Kwanzaa. Umoja, unity in our particularity towards the 8th principle. My hope in co-creating today's service was to continue to offer the many similar, but as you've heard, very different ways we as African Americans or people of the African diaspora honor Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa honored through our deeply cultural, communal expressions of this time of year. I don't know about you, but I'm still buzzing from the different reflections, from the poetry, from the wisdom of a 9th grader, now a senior, leading his school's freshmen into the school, and Dr. Janice's 3 profound lessons. I had not known until this morning that we lost Bishop Desmond Tutu. Through our prayer, I heard this. Through all of these efforts, we continue to center Blackness in Kwanzaa and throughout the year. As many of you know, Dr. Maulana Karanga introduced Kwanzaa in 1966 in the United States as a ritual to bring the harvest of the fields into the home as a response to the rampant commercialism that was often taking place during Christmas. What may be less known is some of the seed monies to start Kwanzaa back then were given by the Unitarian Universalist Association. Monies given to honor and support Afro-American centered cultural empowerment. Today, similar efforts to support Black-centered Unitarian Universalism is being done through the work of Blue, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. Please familiarize yourself with Blue's profound ministry and do look them up as their sacred work continues to penetrate our denomination and move us towards the eighth principle more accountably. And if you can, please donate. Kwanzaa for me has been a cultural revelation that continues to sink into my bones as to how I want to live my life in beloved community through an even better understanding of just how critical the African American experience is and what it means to be an American. Amen. As we all know too well, the anti-Blackness of this country has long been documented, and many forces continue to push against, even police, any social movements to unapologetically share of our history, our culture, and our lived experiences. Somehow, these movements continue to be a threat to way too many in this country. Even still, at Kwanzaa and throughout the year, we do what is necessary to claim our rightful place in this society. From the very real issues related to voting rights, which we're even debating here in this country, to a woman's right to choose what happens to her body in reproductive issues, to the growth and continued expansion of the school to prison pipeline, to the gentrification that's taking place even here in New York City. There are many factors that continue to make a decent life nearly impossible for many, way too many Black people in this country, especially nearing the end of 2021. Yet, we continue to find ways to express Black joy, excellence, pride, and ways of keeping our hands on the plow. Amen? Keeping our hands on the plow for more justice, for a more sacred and faithful society with each passing day. For me, Kwanzaa is just one of those occasions throughout the year to honor our families, our collective and individual histories, and our communal contributions to this country and the rest of the world. I was introduced to Kwanzaa only 14 years ago while in seminary at Star King School for the Ministry in Berkeley, California. I have had the privilege of celebrating Kwanzaa in homes of some of my immediate family and chosen family, of dear, dear friends, of my godson and his two mothers and his sister Ziona, and in communal celebrations in Oakland, California, Madison, Wisconsin, Cleveland and Lakewood, Ohio, and even more places. Sadly, as we all know too well, the last 2 years I have not yet had the honor of a New York City experience of Kwanzaa, which I hear is soul-stirring and not to be missed. I still have hope that I will experience one of these celebrations here in due course. What continues to be transformative in my life around Kwanzaa and during and throughout the year is when beloved community, how we express the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba, Umoja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, Ujame, Nia, Kuumba, and Imani, or faith, is our 7th principle. Also of critical importance to Kwanzaa is the creation of homemade, handmade crafts, and to teach these teachings, to share the gifts with children so they too, African American, African descent children, and other children know the critical importance of our contributions. Yes, Kwanzaa is unapologetically centering the experiences of African Americans and people of the African diaspora, but does not limit who can, with accountability and integrity, celebrate these essential principles at this time of year and year around. Can I get a
Amen.
Amen.
And you may be
Amen.
wondering, what does any of this have to do with the grassroots efforts of the eighth principle? The eighth principle that has as many as 143 congregations as of December 14th, 143 congregations have voted to adopt. What does that mean to us here at Community Church of New York? And how does it connect with Kwanzaa? For me, at the very core of our Unitarian Universalist faith, when lived towards our highest ideals, this particular principle, unlike the first seven, asks me and all of us to dig even more deeply in our capacities to dismantle systemic oppression. Oppressions like sexism, racism, ableism, transphobia, and heteronormativity, and all other forms of oppression. We can do this spiritual, religious work, I believe. Yes, these isms live within me and all of us, and within this congregation and our denomination writ large. Yet I so believe we can do the holy, sacred work to dismantle these systems here and beyond. Friends, as I begin to bring this homily to a close, and as 2022 is nearly here, I so believe that if we live into the highest ideals of our faith, doing the work that we individually and collectively, even during this raging pandemic, we can do great things. I would be remiss not to honor another of our beloved ancestors who died all too soon, Dr. Bell Hooks. As many of you know, Bell Hooks was an African-American feminist, womanist scholar, theologian, warrior for justice, and I dare say, bad ASS. As she leaves us with 4 lifetimes of materials to study and to embody as we all journey into this Kwanzaa and beyond, I'll leave you with a quote that she left on genuine love. She wrote, it's hard to say she wrote, genuine love is rarely an emotional space where needs are instantly gratified. To know love, we have to invest time and commitment. Dreaming that love will save us, solve all of our problems, or provide a steady state of bliss or security only keeps us stuck in wistful fantasy, undermining the real power of love, which is to transform us. Many people want love to function like a drug, giving them an immediate and sustained high. They want to do nothing, just passively receive good feelings. Bell Hooks. May we be brave enough to embrace this form of love in all we do. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. It is with a lot of excitement that we start to bring this worship to a close. We're inviting some of our newest members of the congregation who joined during the pandemic to light the first candle of the Kanara for this year. To the Williams family from New Jersey, New Jersey in the house, who have been active members of our religious education program. Will you please do us the honor of lighting this year's Umoja candle, the Williams family? Yes. Umoja, unity that brings us together. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you, Williams family.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. All the way from Jersey. What?
Yeah. Thank you.